first ever stunning admission from a woman who accused Duke University lacrosse players of raping her nearly 20 years ago. The story was a national firestorm. She now says she lied about the encounter. Crystal Mangum first made the claims back in 2006, saying 3 members of the school's lacrosse team raped her after she had been hired to dance at a house party the team was throwing. Police charged David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman after Mangum's accusations. But after much back and forth and the city's DA stepping down from the case, North Carolina's Attorney General later dismissed the charges, citing a lack of evidence. But now, going on the record on a podcast nearly 20 years later, Crystal Mangum says she was lying the whole time.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong when God already loved me for who I was, regardless. I didn't need to seek validation from him because I already had validation from him. I just didn't know it. And I hurt my brothers. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I want them to know that I love them. And they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me. And that I hope that they can heal and trust God and know that God loves them and that God is loving them through me, letting them know that they're valuable and that they didn't deserve that.
Joining me now is CNN's Jean Casarez, who reported heavily on this case. Jean, give us a sense of how impactful and controversial these accusations and the result were at that time. I remember, you remember this story all too well. I mean, this was literally a firestorm of a story back in 2006. The entire country was watching it, and to hear this admission all these years later, it's just extraordinary.
And 3 young lives were destroyed at that time. You know, it was 2006. It was Durham, North Carolina. I was there. I was covering this. And Crystal Mangum made the accusation that she was raped by David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman. And there were charges, very serious sexual assault charges that had terms of imprisonment for the rest of their lives. And in Durham, that's where it started, and everyone took Crystal Mangum's side because she came out with details, very specific, graphic details. And the young men said, we didn't do this. But Duke University did not stand by them either. They were just really silent, but everyone was focused that she was telling the truth, they weren't. Then it went to a national level. And their names became household names. And they were taken into court on these very serious charges. And they were in college. They were at Duke University. Furthermore, the lacrosse team, their entire season was canceled. The coach was fired. So there were ramifications from it. Now, 1 year later, the Attorney General exonerated them of innocence. But there's so much more to the story. I was in the courtroom. And Mike Nifong, the district attorney of Durham, was charged with criminal contempt and then also for disbarment of his bar license. And it came out what the truth was. One of the defense teams had a young attorney, just got out of law school, and he would stay up at night reading the thousands of pages of DNA evidence. And he found something in one of those thousands of pages that confirmed that their DNA was not a part of DNA that they had collected from her. And that DNA evidence is actually one of the major factors that they were exonerated, and that came out during Mike Nifong's trial. He was convicted, by the way, the district attorney, who had stood by her and had done many interviews about how she was raped so viciously. And then they reclaimed their lives. But right there, I believe that's David Evans right there. He said that he, at the time, because he was in the courtroom during Mike Nifong's trial, he wanted to become an attorney because he wanted to help others who were wrongfully accused. And I don't know if that happened, but that is what he wanted at that time. But they'll always be the three Duke lacrosse players, right?
Yeah.
If you say the name
that's right.
Colin Finnerty, especially if you live in Duke, in Durham, you're going to know who that is.
And Jean, that school's lacrosse program was just smeared. I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm sure suffered, and the school just suffered major reputational damage after that. Is there anything that could come as in part of the fallout of this? I mean, could there be some sort of lawsuit? I mean, I suppose there might not be much to sue for here. It doesn't sound like Crystal has a whole lot of assets on her.
Well, she's in prison.
Yeah,
she's in prison right now for murder. And so that's true. There were several lawsuits at the time, one against Duke, another against Durham, the city of Durham. But now that she has come out on the record saying it, let's see legally what is available, because it has been almost 20 years, and I'm sure her resources are very, very sparse at this point. But we have tried to contact the three now men involved in this, their attorneys, and a local paper said that there are not comments at this point of their reaction to all of this.
Wow. All right, Jean, stand by. Really appreciate you being on with us this morning. I do want to go to Caterina DePasquale. She is the podcaster who interviewed Crystal Mangum when this admission was offered up. Caterina, I understand you're on the phone with us. Tell us a little bit about this interview. And how did this come about?
Well, so I'm a New Yorker who lives in Durham, North Carolina. I started my show, Let's Talk with Cat.com, and I was looking for an interesting interview. In my circle, people have talked about Crystal, and there was so much mystery around it for me because it seemed like some people viewed her as a pariah and some people still viewed her as a victim. And so I just thought, I want to find out for myself who this person is, and I wanted to see the reasonings behind decision making, and just that's where I was heading.
Yeah, but Kat, I mean, tell me about this admission. I mean, she just blurted it out. Did you have to press her? How did that go down?
So my intentions had nothing to do with getting any confessions out of Crystal. I contacted her via our online platform, and I asked her if I could interview her. And the protocol of this prison was that she needs to mail me a letter and confirm if she's down for the interview. She did. She mailed me a letter, and in the letter, she said that she would like to give me an interview, but also she would like to apologize to Duke lacrosse players.
And so she just says...
It was surprising.
Yeah. And she just says she made it up. It was a false accusation. Did she say why?
But I want the yes. Well, so yes, if you watch the full interview, there are like about 5 questions before she confesses, because I thought about it, and my platform is about finding out reasoning behind decision making, and so I attempted to look to see who Crystal was on a human level, and understand why she made the decision that she made. So
it's really extraordinary. Well, Caterina, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It is quite the scoop. Caterina DePasquale and Jean Casarez, thank you for your time as well. We really appreciate it. Just an extraordinary story.